Tomorrow night is Halloween, and so tonight I bring you my top 5 pieces of media that scared me this year. I'm not going to promise they'll scare you, but they scared me. So here we have one show, one movie, one novel, one comic, and one game. Enjoy! First up, American Horror Story Season 2 Asylum. I really enjoyed the American Horror Story series, because it's very creepy, and it's like a long horror movie, and it explores sort of like our North American tropes of horror and what we're doing, and it does it in an unexpected way sometimes. And I like the reuse of actors and casting and the creepy build-ups, and they have great imagery, and they're not afraid to push the envelope just because it's TV. And it's a really fantastic show. There is a little problem with payoff, though, because, you have some characters that are built up. So in Asylum Season 2, they're in a crazy house, and they're, like, being run by nuns, and you flash forward to the future where you're getting people murdered, and flash back to the past at the inception of the murderer, and you have the devil there who just disappears, and there are aliens, and there are abductions, and it's all really crazy and trippy, and I recommend you check it out if you want some scary TV viewing that you can view over a long period of time. Next, movie this year. It came out in January. It's a project by Guillermo del Toro. I'm going to give you more clues before I tell you the answer. No, it's Mama. Really sort of like a sleeper hit because, as I said, it came out in January, so people weren't really looking for scary movies. It wasn't an October release. But the brilliant thing about this is it's a lot of practical effects. The monster, the Mama creature, is actually played by a dude in makeup who just has sort of a joint disorder that makes him able to bend in creepy ways. And the nice thing about this film is that you still get your typical scares, you get your creepy kids in, but it sort of subverts expectations because it's a story about, I guess, what are they called? Feral children, and them coming back to civilization, and they bring a ghost with them, and it's not quite what you expect, especially the ending. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but most horror stories, most haunted house stories, most haunted family stories, everybody dies, and I think you'll be surprised what happens with this. It's very interesting. Next, book, The Ruins, by, what is his name? Oh my gosh, this is so unprepared. Scott Smith. This is not a book that came out this year. This was a book that was turned into a movie years and years ago, I think like 2008. But it's a really cool horror book. And I recommend you read the book over the movie in a book versus movie situation. I'm almost always going to recommend that. But in this case, I recommend it especially because there are some very graphic scenes in the book which are okay read, but then when you watch them, you're like, oh my gosh, that is what I was reading. It was a very faithful adaptation apart from the ending, but it was a very creepy thing to watch. So unless you're into like torture porn like Saw, read the book. It's about a sentient plant who basically traps a bunch of attractive 20-somethings and psychologically tortures them. And it's really fascinating, really awesome, and really creepy, and I love it. Comic, Hellboy. Read any Hellboy you want, really, quite frankly, because Mike Mignola is great, and this is a great long-running character. But the one that I'm going to recommend specifically, if you haven't been into Hellboy before, or if you've just seen the Hellboy movies, is The Crooked Man and Other Tales. It's volume 10, I believe. It's a collection of short stories. And my favorite short story in this one is one that's illustrated by Richard Corbin, who I find to be a fantastic horror artist. And he draws these really creepy images, and like people are all like naffed up and stuff. And it's fantastic, and it's fascinating, and you should check it out. Do it. It's good. Volume 10, Hellboy. You can get it anywhere, get it on the internet. Just read it. Read it for Halloween, read it after Halloween, read it, and then read all the other Hellboys, and then read all the BPRDs, because they're good, and they're based on actual myth, and it's a lot of fun, and it's scary. This is something like I read with the lights off, and then I had to go read something cheerful afterwards, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't sleep. It's creeping me out. And now you're like, you wuss. But no, seriously, it's creepy. Last is Virtue's Last Reward. It's a sequel to 999, 9 persons, 9 doors, 9 9 something, but it's another 999 game. It's another game based around the non-horror game, and it's not a like jump out and scare you or a zombie horror game. If you want a zombie horror game, play Walking Dead. You know to play Walking Dead. You know that. But play this. It's on 3DS and Vita, so you have your choice of handheld to play it on. It's an interactive novel, and it's great in that it's sort of like a horror novel. It's sort of like a psychological thriller novel, but you're involved, and you have to make choices, and you're always afraid you're going to die. And I swear I reloaded and played like half-hour sequences over again just because I felt like I made the wrong choice. In this game, you're essentially solving puzzles and then playing the prisoner's dilemma, whether or not you give up one of your fellow capturees, like this crazy person has captured a lot of people. I'm trying not to spoil anything. Can you guys tell that I'm just talking in vague generalities here? Because these are all pieces of media I really want you to consume. So, again, recap. Watch American Horror Story, watch Mama, read The Ruins, read Hellboy, Volume 10, and play Virtue's Last Reward on your 3DS or on your Vita. Just do these things, and you will have a creepy Halloween.